All right, everyone. Welcome to the Being Totality podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me and our guest, Clay Dunn. Hey, Clay.
Hey,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I am wonderful. So, for the audience, you are from Denver, Colorado. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah,
Yes. And you are a life coach, which is super exciting. Now, here's one thing. I am actually a solution focused life coach from the Life Coaching Institute. So I got my certification from there, and it's been a journey. It's been a amazing experience getting my life coaching certification. Did you enjoy yours?
yeah. So I'm in a coaching program right now. I don't have a certification yet, but that's something I intend to get.
Okay, okay. Are you liking it though? Like what
Yeah, I
you're
love
learning?
being a coach. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so just jumping right on in. So tell me, like, when it comes to inner exploration, what do you think of when you hear inner exploration?
Inner exploration. I think that people need to work on understanding reasons to trust themselves more. I think people can look at past experience that they've had, and oftentimes they don't give themselves enough credit for the things that they have overcome. And they have so much self-doubt around so many different areas of their life. But when you like look at their life, like, whoa, I did this, I did this. And so I think inner exploration, a great way to start is by looking at your past and understanding how far you've come.
Yes, most definitely. Do you think a lot of people, just like in general, find it hard to look and evaluate their past? Or do you think people think it's easier to just keep moving without thinking about the past?
So I think that people naturally gravitate towards not looking at their past because for a lot of people it's really scary. But I think that it's really important to look at.
I really think that when I do my own introspection work, it comes naturally for me to look backwards a little bit just to see exactly where I can improve. But
Mhm.
it's also easy to move forward and just keep it in the back of your mind without looking inward. Exactly. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
so I think that a lot of people it is easier to just not like look at things in your life retrospectively and just keep moving forward. But I think that long term, it's actually more difficult for you if you don't.
Hmm.
And that's why I always encourage people to look at it and reflect on it because if you don't, there's all these subconscious blocks and limiting beliefs that we have that will keep affecting our lives every single day, and we don't confront these things. So it's really important to look at.
Exactly. Exactly. And do you believe that depending on how you look inward or replay what's already been done and trying to grow from mistakes or different choices, etc., how do you think that pushes people into self expression?
Like, how does self-reflection push people to self-expression?
How does inner exploration push people to self expression? Because for me, I'm just going to scratch the surface, but I kind of see it through how people dress, body language, how they speak, how they tend to carry themselves, those type of things.
Yeah, so I think that it's like the necessary prerequisite, right? Because you need to understand the things that you genuinely like. And so many of us are only taught to, like things that other people kind of expect of us or expect from us. And so in our exploration is looking at, okay, forget everybody else's expectations, forget everybody else's desires for me. What do I want? And then looking at what do I want, I can decide, okay, I want to dress like this. I want to do this with my free time. But for a long time, I personally struggled with I'm living my life entirely for other people, and I have no idea who I even am at this point.
Yes, I definitely understand that road. For a long time, like all through my 20s, I was trying to fit in. I was definitely trying to fit in, and I was just trying to make people like me for the longest time. And then I just started being myself and looking inward late 20s, like 26, 27. And I learned like so much about myself. And now I just kinda do what I like to do and dress the way that I like to dress and all of that stuff, and it kinda helps with genuine authenticity, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, when you drop everyone else's expectations and you look at what you really want and you start implementing that into your life, then yeah, you just feel so much calmer, so much safer in your life and more because you're living it more authentically to what you actually want.
Absolutely. And a lot of people have a hard time with that. And do you think that with people having a hard time with just genuinely being themselves, do you think the media and TV and things of that nature play a role in that? Or do you
Oh,
think people just
absolutely.
want to blend in?
I think that just the act of being online, period, influences your decision making. We are constantly advertised to, we see all of these different influencers, people that we follow, living a particular kind of life. And even if we don't like consciously think, oh, this is something that we want in our lives, it does still impact us subconsciously. It makes us feel inadequate. When you look at a fitness influencer, even if you don't think about it consciously, you're thinking, I don't look that good. How could anyone love me? Like it's very easy to go down this path of comparison that really eats away at your self-esteem.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And that can be super hard, especially when you see something that you believe to be better when maybe it's probably the opposite deep down
Yeah.
inside. So tell me a little bit about your journey. Like, how did it start? How did you get to the point where you decided that you wanted to be a life coach?
Okay. Yeah. So I was suicidally depressed for 8 years. I was living my life through, like I said, others' expectations. I did everything that was expected of me. I went to college for engineering, graduated with a degree, went into engineering, and very quickly found out it wasn't for me. But I didn't really have the courage to leave until uh, just last year. It's 2026 now. Just last year is when I finally, you know, left and started choosing for myself. Before that, I was extremely depressed. I was coping with addictions. I was very numb, was not getting good sleep, and I had relationships that were really harmful for me, really abusive. And there was just this pattern of feeling like a victim and disempowered to actually make any changes in my life. And something happened about 6 months ago, and all of my life kind of fell apart as I knew it. And I knew that this was my moment of, okay, I figured this out, and that's my only option.
Mm.
Like I got in there was a breakup, there was a car accident, I had a panic attack that landed me in the ER due to like a bunch of psych meds I was on, just everything falling apart. And also my dissatisfaction with being an engineer was at an all-time high. Just everything in my life was misaligned from my values and what I wanted out of my life. And I realized I could no longer take it. And that's when I started taking terrifying actions like starting a business and quitting my job. And those kind of things, really helped me to feel better about myself and feel like, okay, this is my life. I am in the driver's seat now. And I realized that that's what I wanted to help other people do because so many of us live life through others' expectations and are never really given the opportunity to do anything for ourselves. And the fact is, you'll never get that opportunity unless you take it for yourself.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, so that's a lot of stuff going on like in between that time span. Was that like in the span of like a year or a couple of months?
Couple months. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I feel like the universe was just telling me, all right, you're done. We're done with this. And just throwing thing after thing after at me until I realized I couldn't do it anymore.
Right, right. What was the first thing that you did after you quit your job?
I want to back up a little bit because I started this business kind of before I quit my job. The very
Okay.
first thing I did that I feel like was choosing a different path consciously was actually getting a tarot card reading.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I had always had kind of because I grew up in a Christian household, and so I've always had kind of a difficult relationship with religion and spirituality. And so I always had this negative outlook towards things like tarot cards. But I did the reading just, I didn't have any guidance myself. So I needed something to kind of help me out. And so I just approached it with curiosity and I got the reading. And it was basically essentially telling me, like, look, you went through this depression for a reason, and your purpose is to help people through this now. And after that, it's just been kind of a bit of a whirlwind. So the last 4 or 5 months, I've been, making this business and getting better and better at all these different business skills, just so I can help people that, like me when I was younger, didn't have the support that I needed. And I
Mhm.
want to be that for others.
And that's definitely something that society needs, people that actually genuinely want to help instead of just saying that they want to help.
Yeah. And I feel like there are a lot of life coaches that do it for the wrong reasons. They do it for money, as that being the first primary reason why they're doing it. And it's just, I've talked to so many people who have this really fear-based view of life coaching, and it makes sense because there are people that are scammers and haven't actually lived it. And I think that's why I want to be one of the good ones of I was going through the same thing that you are now, and I got out of it, and now I help those kind of people through it.
Yes, yes. And that's always a good mindset because if you focus on money, it's not going to go that far.
Yeah, you need to focus on what can I do for the betterment of society? What can I do to help people?
Exactly. And the way that you decided to help is through tarot reading.
No, so I help people through a variety of methods, but the tarot card reading was what encouraged me to get into life
Okay.
coaching. That was
Okay.
a personal experience for me. Although
Okay.
I can use tarot cards, I have learned to do tarot readings, and I can use that as a methodology for clients.
Okay. Okay. That makes more sense. What other methods do you use to help your clients get through those hard times?
So everyone has a different struggle, right? And
Hmm.
so some clients, it might be more relationship focused. Maybe it's more focused on like, I'm not doing my hobbies. I don't have any motivation. Maybe they're struggling with ADHD or autism, neurodivergence as a whole, and they just need someone to support them through that. And so what I do is for my clients, I'm down in the trenches with them. I'm like, okay, here's what your issues are, and I'm helping them figure it out. If it's motivation, I'm helping them come up with a routine if that's what they need. If it's neurodivergence, I'm giving them neurodivergent specific strategies that will help them overcome their issues. If it's relationships, I'm teaching them how to set boundaries that actually create a respectful relationship on both sides instead of people pleasing and then having this nasty back and forth, almost abusive, manipulative pattern.
Right.
So it really depends on what each person needs, and I tailor my program to help these people in the ways that they need it the most.
Now, do you find it difficult finding what the actual underlying issue is for your client?
No, I've always had this ability. It's almost like I can see through people's walls as if it were glass. My I'm autistic myself, and autistic people seem to have this really strong sense of pattern recognition. And then that combined with my genuine curiosity for what someone's going through, I feel like I cut to the underlying issue really quickly. And when you get to that point, it's really easy to be like, okay, well, this is the issue. This is what I've seen work. Let's try this. And if it works out, great. We can move forward. If it doesn't, then we'll reevaluate and see what went wrong and what would actually get them moving forward.
And you know what? I also feel like autism is a little bit of a superpower, and
I
people
agree.
people always look at it so negative, but it's actually if you just change your mindset a little bit, it's actually a superpower. Like I feel the same thing about schizophrenic people. Like I feel like they have a superpower that people don't understand. And so that's why they kind of get labeled as crazy, but they're not crazy. I think they can see something beyond everybody else. That's how I feel that.
Right. Yeah, I feel the same way about most kinds of mental illnesses actually. As someone that was depressed, I experienced such a deep pain that I'm now much more resilient and I'm capable of helping other people through that pain. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder like 6 months ago,
Oh, wow.
and I qualified for all the DSM-5 categories then, but I no longer qualify for them now, so I technically don't have it anymore. But one of the things with BPD is this hypersensitivity to things.
Yes.
And because I was hypersensitive to things, I look at it as a benefit now because that's part of my ability to see through people and help them because I can understand all of the little internal messaging that they have and I can hear it so clearly. Same with ADHD and autism, like the pattern recognition, the ability to be so flexible that ADHD comes with because you crave that novelty. And so you just naturally gravitate towards flexibility. And when you have clients that have, a struggle with something that goes in a lot of different areas of their life, with ADHD, it's really easy to hear them and be able to interact with all of these parts without getting overwhelmed. So
Yes.
all of my mental illnesses that I've had have made me the life coach that I am today. And it's been really powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do know that BPD can have it can either make you or break you. And it's kind of in all like how you look at it because it can be used for good as long as you know how to filter and compartmentalize certain feelings and, learn to regulate and all of those things. But combined with, 80 and things of that nature, it can be a little daunting, but you can still grab hold of the horns and, you know, put it in its place. And it can also be used as like a extra type of shield as well. So that's pretty interesting. Did you feel some type of way when the doctor diagnosed you with BPD?
So I really feel like it was just like finally something that makes sense. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I had been struggling with relationships for a long time, and to hear that I wasn't broken, it was actually this thing that was treatable, I had such a sense of relief.
Mhm.
So I wasn't like frustrated with it by any means. I was excited. Like finally I have a direction I can go to figure out what's wrong and fix it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I had that direction, literally 2 months later, I no longer qualified for the diagnosis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is kind of funny. It's like, okay, I've been feeling this way for years. Now I finally got an answer. And now that I understand what it is, I think I cured myself. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I haven't had it come back at all. It's not saying that like the pattern still shows up subconsciously. It's just choosing a different response, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
That's
it's
that's
been
the big
great.
thing. That's the big thing with BPD. Like you have to choose your own action when it comes to it. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
always gonna be there, and things are gonna be triggering, and things are gonna come up out of nowhere, but reacting to it, the way you choose to react to how you feel about those things is the whole key right there.
Yeah. And I actually empower people that I work with to look at their mental illnesses from a perspective of how is this serving me? And what I found so commonly with depression is that the reason people are depressed is because their body is signaling to them that something is off and they need to change something.
Mhm.
And same with anxiety, like something's off. What's wrong? How do we fix this? And when people actually listen to that and then understand that it's a signal, not a attack on them, then they can take that and make the changes that they need to in their life. And then the depression almost magically goes away, even
Mhm.
treatment resistant depression, because so many people I've seen have gone to therapy for years, are taking antidepressants, and it's just like a band-aid. Like for me personally, I was going to therapy and taking antidepressants for that whole 8 year period I was depressed. And during that time, I feel like those meds and the help I was getting kept me stable. Like I didn't end up killing myself, but they didn't actually help resolve the underlying issue. And that's where this comes from, is looking at what is my depression trying to tell me
Mhm.
and then addressing that.
Exactly. And you know what? That is a really good way to tackle that, because like what exactly is it saying? Like how is it affecting your body? How is it affecting how you're feeling at the time? You got to read all the way into that to really get down to the main point so that you could make the correct decisions. And a lot of people don't do that. All they know is that they're not feeling good and they need to feel better immediately, but they don't want to do the extra work. There's actually more that goes into it than just not feeling good.
Yeah, and I feel like the reason that people don't do the extra work is because of fear. They fear that they can't actually make any changes. They fear that they'll be stuck in this forever. Sometimes the first step is that's why the first step is that I help people with is trusting themselves again. Because if they
Mhm.
trust themselves, then they can make the changes that they haven't been able to.
Right, right. Is there like a guideline that you have for all of your sessions, but like for different situations that you kind of like follow?
So I have like a general process that I take people through. It's 3 phases. The first is stabilize. So that's we look at their depression or whatever struggle they're going through and looking at, okay, where is this coming from? What is it trying to tell me? And then also reframing it as not something that's wrong with them, but something that can actually be beneficial for them if they, work through it. The
Mhm.
second stage is reconnecting. So that's reconnecting with people's values. It's reconnecting with reasons that would make them want to live, to help them create their own dream life, whatever that means to them.
Mhm.
That's looking at everything that they'd like to achieve and then like empowering them to start making moves towards that. And then the third stage is the rebuild. And that's where we look at, okay, this is what your depression's been telling you. This is what your struggle has been trying to tell you. This is what you'd like out of life. How do we make that happen? And
Right.
that's looking at what daily habits do you need to do to make this happen? What actions do you need to take? Do you need to end friendships? Do you need to set boundaries with family? Do you need to get more support elsewhere? Like it's looking at everything that needs to change, practically speaking, to make sure that you achieve what you want to achieve.
Right, right. Clayton, you know what? That sounds like a really nice book. You should write a book. I would
Maybe
buy
down the
it.
line, yeah.
I
Good to
would
know,
buy it.
yeah.
Wow, that is really awesome. Like, I love the breakdown because a lot of people don't really do the breakdown. And I don't know, I'm not that fond of therapy nowadays. Like, I feel
Mm.
like everything is kind of like back in the day, therapy used to be good, but now I feel like it's not as quality anymore. Not as it's not the best thing to do anymore. So we do need more people like you. That would be so good for society as a whole because we do need to get people using their brain again. I feel like technology has kind of made people a little bit lazier when it comes to thinking, especially with like these things like Chat GPT. Like it keeps people from thinking. So,
So I wanna speak to therapy if that's all right.
yes.
Sure. So I went to therapy the whole 8 years that I was depressed, right? And I've experienced bad therapists and I've experienced great therapists. There are definitely great therapists out there, but they're hard to find because there's a lot of bad ones out there. What I recommend is looking at Psychology Today and not being afraid to try new ones if one isn't working for you. So many people that go to therapy stay with the same one for years and it's keeping them stuck. Bad therapists that I've had ones that would consistently not show up to appointments. I've had ones that would, there was this one that told me I was having an issue with my ex at the time, and this therapist told me, why don't you just not talk about it? Because that's always fixed everything.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. And then I've had therapists that in the span of 2 months helped me overcome my BPD. So it's really looking at figuring out what it is that you need. And I think everyone has that kind of journey of going through bad therapists. It's just deciding to also try something new. And that's also something that I help people with because I went through it is what does a good therapist look like? What does good support look like so that people can get exactly what they need?
Was that a hard thing to figure out, like, understanding, like, what a good therapist and what good feedback would be before you found your therapist?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, self-trust, right? In
Mhm.
order to make a decision to find a different therapist, you have to trust that you know more about your condition than the therapist. And that is a challenging proposition for a lot of people. Um, you have to understand that, okay, I've been seeing them for 2 years, nothing's been changing. They must not be able to help me. I need to figure out someone who can. And it's really looking at and trusting what my experience is and looking for someone that's more aligned with my experience and what I need.
Okay, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I have not had the greatest luck with therapists. I kinda gave up on therapy, like, in my mid-20s.
Hmm.
And then after that, I turned to yoga because I was like, okay, looking inward because I've always been a introspective type of girl. So looking inward and also journaling. I'm a pen and paper girl, so I love to journal.
Hmm.
So with doing the research and asking the weird questions and things of that nature, it led me to yoga. And
Yeah.
I was like, "Man, like, this is great." And the more that I learned about yoga and I found my specific lineage of practice, I was like, "Wow." I started to realize that yoga was just self um, discovery in motion. And that made me
Hmm.
love the practice even more. And then from there, it blossomed into like my herbalism stuff. I went to herbal school and then the life coaching and discovering that I was a pantheist when it comes to my spirituality. And I don't know, like it was really an amazing journey. And I'm still on that journey. But like when you first discover like real, genuine things about yourself, it's really exciting. Do you remember that time you discovered like the real, genuine side of yourself? And you was like, yo, this is cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was like 4 months ago. So pretty recent. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at, trying things that I always wanted to do. So I was like dancing tango for a while. I raced my car. I play video games sometimes with my wife. Like I do all of these things that I wasn't giving myself permission to do because I didn't know who I was.
Mhm.
Hanging out with friends, making community. There's this really amazing local group in Denver that actually has a lot of different like sections nationally called
Mhm.
Authentic Relating. And I accredit that community to be part of my life-saving journey for myself. Having a sense of community is really important and it's really difficult to build.
It is. It is extremely difficult to build, which is exactly the reason why I created this podcast because this is to help me continue to like have good, meaningful conversations because I am an introvert. So I don't really do a lot of fluff talk. I like really deep conversations that I can like take something from it and, learn and be able to expand my brain just a little bit more from each story that comes onto this podcast. So that was one of the biggest aspirations for creating this podcast. And I was like, well, you know what? I am perfectly fine with just being myself. Like, and just staying at home. But I do want to still try to make connection with people. But because of the fact that I am picky about where I place my energy, that's where the podcast comes in. So I don't like forget how to have a conversation because that has happened to me before. I've forgotten how to have a conversation.
Yeah, I think that, we all got to find whatever ways of community feel right for us, whether that's, having a podcast, whether that's going to meetup groups in your local area, whether that's finding something online that matches your values. It really depends on what you want. And that's why you got to do that self-exploration we talked about.
Most definitely, most definitely. Okay, one thing that I wanted to ask, like, what is your deeper mission behind your work? Like, what is your complete intention behind the work that you currently do?
I view my mission as really simple but powerful because essentially what it is I refuse to let anyone that needs support not have the support that I didn't once. And I don't want anyone to have to go through what I did alone. And I want to be that for people. I want to help them out of it. And that's why I'm doing this.
I love that. I love that. It's simple, it's to the point, and it's powerful because, sometimes you don't have to say a lot of words to have a powerful impact.
Yeah,
For
very
sure.
true.
Now, okay, so another thing, I want to rewind back to the tarot cards. So tell me
Okay.
okay, I'm trying to understand what made you go towards tarot cards in the beginning of your journey?
I stumbled into it actually. I didn't search it out. I went to a last minute anime night type deal with a friend, and two of the people there happened to read tarot, and they offered me if I wanted a reading. And I was like, sure, why not? And that's how I had a reading. It
Wow. Was it scary for your first time or did you enjoy it?
was really enjoyable. I was more curious than anything. It wasn't really scary for me.
See, that's how I felt when I had my aura read for the first time. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is exciting." Like, what if it's like
Hmm.
a weird color? Like, what if it's like violet or something? Like, I was like going like double guessing in my head and stuff, but it was a good experience. Like, it was good. I was just
What color
paranoid.
was it? What
I
color
think
was your aura?
it was I don't know. I think it was blue, a bluish pinkish or something like that.
Interesting.
I know, and I don't really know exactly what that means, but I
I
was
feel like
curious.
I really enjoy those kind of alternative self-exploration things like tarot, like aura reading, that kind of thing, because I feel like the main benefit is it provides you a different lens to look at yourself.
Mhm.
And the way I use tarot in my coaching is people already know what they need to work on. The cards just kind of bring it up. So if I'm doing a tarot spread and like we're talking about past struggles, they'll be able to speak to that. It's really just it's guiding the questions that I ask essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely do not mind trying different avenues because I'm always a student. I'm going to try it just because I haven't done it. And
Yeah.
I feel like it expands my brain. So I feel like trying different things is always fun. So I was like, okay, let's do it. You never know what happens. And I'm big into like chakra work too. So like I try to like balance my chakras with like my tuning forks and I have some singing bowls and things of that nature. So I try to make sure that my frequency is at a decent level, but not too overwhelming or anything like that. So that's another thing that I fell in love with, like the singing bowls. I love some singing bowls.
I have one myself. I really like the noise they make.
Yes. And I like the fact that it comes in like a variety. So like you could get the big ones or you can get like the set of three. So it's
Mhm.
not like too many everywhere. And once you literally tap it and keep it going, oh my gosh, it's like a symphony. I love it.
It is. Yeah. It's really pleasant and fills the whole soundscape with some nice vibes.
Yes. I find it easier to meditate when I'm playing the singing bowls at the same time.
I like incense too. Incense is really nice.
Yes, I do like the incense as well. I tend to burn resin sometimes. So it's like I'll get like my cauldron and I'll put like a charcoal disc in there and then I'll put like some myrrh or something on top and just let that scent go. And it's like the best thing ever.
That sounds pleasant.
Yes, yes, it's so amazing. So I love the fact that like you stumbled into the tarot cards though. That's always the best way to get into like spiritual work though, you know. Just accidentally like
Yeah.
stumbling in.
Yeah, I feel like it's a synchronicity, right? It's like
Yes,
you are meant to be here at this time. You're meant to explore this now.
exactly.
Have you ever read The Artist's Way?
No, I haven't.
I think the artist or the author's name is Julia Cameron, but it's recently had its 30-year anniversary. And basically what it is like this group. Typically it's done like with up to 12 people, like a small group type deal.
Mhm.
And it's a 12-week program. And it's kind of structured as like a addiction recovery program,
Mhm.
but for unblocking your creativity. But it's not just creativity. It really does, it's universal wisdom. It talks about synchronicities. It talks about listening to them and like engaging with your inner creativity because when you don't do that, you kind of die a little inside. Ask me how I know.
No, but I definitely agree with that. That sounds really cool because a lot of people have blockages and don't realize that they have a blockage.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
didn't realize until I was reading that book and I was like, oh, wow, I have some work to do.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that book out. Is it available, like, on Amazon or
Yeah, it's pretty cheap. I think it was like $20 or cheaper.
like, I love a good read. I will
Hmm.
definitely try that out and see what's going on with that book because, like, I do need to find a new book to read. I am a
There
bookworm,
you go.
so there's
Take
my
this as a
next book.
synchronicity.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Now I got another question for you. So, like, overall, holistically, right? Where do you think that you are holistically and spiritually?
Could you elaborate on what that question means?
So, like, do you said a little bit about Christianity earlier? Do you still consider yourself a Christian, or are you kind of moving into like more of a spiritual type of thing?
I stopped being Christian 10 years ago.
Okay.
It never really resonated with me. I always felt like there was something off about it. It felt very dogmatic and wasn't something that I wanted in my life. And I knew that from an early age. And so I kind of just rejected all of spirituality as a whole as a result of that experience until last year when I got into tarot and exploring what spirituality means to me. And the thing that I resonate the most with is kind of just trust and faith in the universe and myself,
Mm.
kind of letting spirituality give me a general direction. And then it's my job to do the actions that make that happen, to fulfill that drive, for lack of a better term.
Okay. So, so you said that you're more spiritual now. and you stopped being a Christian 10 years ago. Do you know like what more like what you resonate with more? Like are you more pantheistic or let me see. Or s well yeah, I guess I could still use pantheism, like, are you more of an energy person now? Like, throughout your like, your journey and what you've discovered about yourself? Like, would you say that you're more pantheistic?
Can you remind me what pantheism is?
I'm the believer of energy.
Of energy. I do believe in energy, but I feel like I'm not as well versed with the different kinds of spirituality. I do generally like kind of Eastern medicine, kind of stuff like that, and just general belief in karma, like putting good work out there to help people do things for the right reasons, and kind of the rewards will come, just kind of that kind of trust. But I don't know that I identify at this point with any particular section of spirituality, if that makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I do feel like that your thought process and your mind throughout your journey has opened up a lot, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Psychedelics has also been a big thing for me. They've been really helpful in kind of raising my consciousness, I think, and
Mhm.
also with helping me overcome depression because it gave me a new perspective to look at.
For sure, yeah. Yeah. That it can definitely do that. It can definitely
Yeah.
do that. Let me see. Where in your life right now do you feel like you still need a little bit more growth, or do you feel like you're on the right path and you're right where you're supposed to be?
So, yes, I am on the right path, and at the same time, I don't think growth ever really stops. And so, where I'm struggling with now is the difference in identity between my past life and me now. So, my past life, I was a mechanical engineer. I was doing everything everyone else expected of me. I was keeping myself small, and now I'm, doing things that kind of expand what I'm doing, expand who I am, being an entrepreneur. And one big piece of that is for a lot of us, until we finish with school and stuff, we are entirely externally motivated. We're doing everything we're supposed to. Everything that we're doing is something that somebody else told us to do. And then there comes a point in our life where it's entirely internally motivated, where now you have to figure out what do I care about? How do I make sure that I'm still, on that path? Because it's really easy to fall back into old patterns of prioritizing comfort over ambition.
Right, that's true. That's true. I do believe that growth never really stops. I love that. That's good. Let me see. So that was a good point there. Um, so personally, what helps you expand or personally evolve? It can be a little daunting balancing everything and staying somewhat creative, but also evolving with the work. So, would you say that there is a slight type of creativity that you have to keep with your work? And does it get challenging? I guess that's what I should have said earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Creativity is absolutely paramount. It's listening to people's solutions and coming up with a creative solution that will actually help them. It's active listening, making sure that you fully understand where they're at and not making assumptions. And then, suggesting the things and helping them through the things that will actually help them.
Mm.
And something that's important to mention is creativity is not an endless supply, right? And so we need to like foster that sense of creativity. And
Mhm.
that's something that we talk about in the Artist's Way book. For me, what I do is I do a lot of journaling. Every morning, I dump all of my emotions onto a page. That helps me get over any kind of fears or insecurities I have about the work that I'm doing because I'm still trying to integrate this new identity, right? And so there
Mhm.
needs to be consistency in the integration, getting your subconscious to follow your conscious mind. And I'm also doing meditation. I'm trying to get more into that. I'd like to make that a daily practice. That's something that I've been working on. Gratitude journal. I do what was described to me as a brag book, but basically what it is looking at three things you did yesterday that you're proud of yourself for.
Yes.
And that really helps with the confidence that I'm on the right path. I do affirmations. So I have a whiteboard in my house that has a bunch of sticky notes on it with things that I read every day or try to read every day. And then I also have my business plan, which is not like a traditional business plan. It's like the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I want to remind myself of that. So I stop blocking myself from helping people due to my own insecurities.
And I think that's where I was trying to go when it comes to that question because like self-confidence for a lot of people don't come naturally and you have to kind of build on it. And with the type of work that a lot of different practitioners do is it can get a little hard to stay confident and also help your client without losing that confidence in yourself. Oh, I feel like it's kind of tricky sometimes. I still have trouble with it sometimes, but I do also do the affirmations and I do meditate and I do tend to utilize my yoga practice to keep that going. So like the balance for that is definitely crucial. And that does go into creativity a little bit because you have to get creative based like for yourself, like not just for your
Hmm.
client, but you got to get creative for yourself because sometimes, you know, the weight of everything can implode on you and you have to try to make it not implode. Like fill it back out, you know. And that can be challenging. It can definitely be challenging.
It brings me to the topic of rest. And especially in this society, so many people have a really hard time allowing themselves to rest.
Mhm.
And a reframe that I recently learned, and one that I like to tell people, is we work from a place of rest. We don't rest from a place of work.
Like that one. That was
Hmm.
good. Clay, okay. That
Because
was
if we
really
don't,
good.
yeah, if we're not protecting our energy, if we're not resting, how can we ever expect to be able to help people? And for
Exactly.
people that aren't healers and coaches and guides, how do you expect to be able to do everything that's asked of you if you're not taking care of yourself? Self-care is so fundamental to your success as a human, and
Absolutely.
it's it's not something that you can just put off. It is a primary need. How can you expect to be creative? How can you expect to do good work if you're so drained all the time? And that's why a lot of people get burnt out.
Yes, there's been a lot of talk about burnout, like work burnout, physical burnout, emotional burnout. And I don't blame people for talking about burnout because, like, they start to feel fatigued, unmotivated, and they don't even know why. And that is terrifying when you don't know why you feel a certain way, but you know that you do feel a certain way. And you don't even know where to start to kind of like break down that feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And definitely be super daunting, but that's why we have our work because if they find a person like if they find your practice and then you get on a video call with them and then help walk them through it, that is way better than just going throughout day by day, not knowing anything, you know?
Would you like me to share the secret to burnout?
Absolutely. We love secrets here.
Burnout comes when you don't have any more energy to do anything, and yet you still push yourself to do that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's, again, that's why self care is important. You need to rebuild that energy because if you're working from a place of 0 out of 10 energy, you will be running yourself dry because then you're not taking from a renewable resource. You're taking from non renewable resources, if that makes sense.
That's
You're
right.
draining almost your soul rather than the energy that you get every day.
That's right. And you know, the thing that I just thought of once you said that, it's like driving a car with bad oil in it.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Driving a car with bad oil in it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be
Yeah.
horrible because that will mess up your engine and everything else.
You'll still keep going forward, but you're taking damage the whole time.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And most people are unaware of like what bad oil in your car can do to the car. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow,
Many people can't remember the last time they took an oil change, which in this kind of analogy is like taking a vacation or taking a break away from work.
exactly. Right. Clayton, this was a awesome time with you on the podcast. And you, you, you gave me a book to read. I am gonna get that book, and then I'm gonna send you an email talking about that's a good book. Thank you for that recommendation. I appreciate
Yeah, absolutely. Let me know what you think.
you. Yeah, I'm gonna get that book. And for our listeners, tell everyone where people can connect with you.
Yeah, so the best way to find me is on my Instagram. It's at Still Waters Coaching. That's WATERS coaching. You can look at the content I'm putting out there, more about my work, and you can also book a free call where we talk about what you're going through and seeing if I can help you. If I can't, I will direct you to someone or something that can.
Hey, that sounds good. We always need to have additional resources for just in case. All right. Well, in that case, we are going to go ahead and close this session. And thank you so much, Clay, for being here. I appreciate you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. This was a good time.